My parents treated my twin siblings like celebrities and me like an afterthought, and when I called them out, I 17 male have always felt like an outsider in my own family. My parents struggled to have kids and went through fertility treatments, which resulted in two sets of fraternal boy-girl twins who, weirdly enough, look almost identical. The older twins, Ryan and Emma, and the younger twins, Jake and Lily, have always been the center of attention in our family. Everyone is obsessed with the miracle of two sets of twins who could pass for identical, despite being opposite sex pairs. Birthdays, Christmas, school events, sports games, report cards, and graduations, everything was a big deal for them. The entire extended family would show up to celebrate every milestone. It felt like there was always a reason to throw them parties and shower them with gifts. Meanwhile, I was born 6 years after Jake and Lily, and it was clear my arrival wasn't as exciting. My birthdays were never a big deal, and for school plays, sports, and even report cards, I was lucky if even one parent showed up or acknowledged it. As a kid, I remember how they would go all out for my siblings' birthdays. They would get matching outfits, cakes with both their names, and huge gatherings where everyone made a fuss over how amazing it was that our family had two sets of twins. Meanwhile, my birthdays were an afterthought. Sometimes, my parents would forget to even get me a cake until the last minute, and I can count on one hand how many times my extended family actually came to one of my birthday parties. If they did, it was out of obligation rather than excitement. My siblings would always have a planned-out celebration, complete with decorations, themes, and special activities that revolved around them. I remember one year asking if I could have a party at a bowling alley, just like my siblings did, and my parents told me it wasn't necessary since I wasn't a twin, and there wouldn't be the same excitement. Instead, they bought a generic cake, put it on the dining table, and called it a day. It wasn't just birthdays, either. Even little things like report cards were a family event for my siblings. If one of the twins got straight A's, they would get a special dinner and gifts. I worked just as hard in school, but when I brought home good grades, it barely registered. My parents would just give me a passing good job and move on. If my siblings got even one A, it was met with enthusiasm, phone calls to relatives, and treats to celebrate. But when I presented my perfect report card, my achievements were dismissed as expected rather than impressive. There was never a reward, never a moment where my efforts were acknowledged in the same way. Once, I even overheard my aunt saying, "Well, he's just one kid. It's not as special." That comment stuck with me. Over time, I stopped expecting celebrations or even recognition because I knew it wouldn't come. I'm not close with my siblings. They don't pay much attention to me, and they enjoy all the attention they get, so I just fade into the background. Even my parents don't seem to make much effort with me the way they do with my siblings. It's not that they're outright mean or cruel to me, but I feel like I've always been an afterthought in their eyes. A couple of weekends ago, my upcoming high school graduation came up in conversation. My siblings can't make it due to work or college obligations, and the rest of my family just shrugged and said, "Well, I guess we don't need to plan around it." Then, that hurt. I told them I'd still like everyone to be there, and they responded that it wasn't necessary. When I asked why my siblings got that treatment and I didn't, they said it was because having twins, especially two sets that could pass as identical, was special. That was something worth celebrating. I finally snapped and said, "It's not my fault I'm not a twin, so why am I being overlooked?" My grandpa chimed in and said that at 17, I shouldn't be jealous of the attention other kids get, and that as a guy, I shouldn't care about this kind of thing. I told them that even teenage guys want to feel like they matter. That was apparently the wrong thing to say because suddenly, my family turned on me. One of my aunts accused me of gaslighting them, while my parents, grandparents, and a few other relatives said I was emotionally manipulating them. They claimed that they never meant to make me feel excluded, but their actions say otherwise. They insist that I should be grateful for what I have, that I shouldn't expect the same level of celebration my siblings got because it's just different. But why? Why is it so different? Why am I less worthy of attention just because I was born alone? Now, they want me to apologize for saying, "It's not my fault I'm not a twin," because, according to them, no one ever said it was. But their actions have made it pretty clear that being a singleton in this family means being second-rate. And I refuse to keep pretending that it doesn't bother me anymore. I'm tired of being expected to swallow my feelings just to keep the peace. I'm tired of my emotions being dismissed as overreactions whenever I try to express them. It's exhausting to constantly feel like I'm the only one who notices this blatant favoritism, and it's even worse knowing that no one in my family is willing to acknowledge how much it hurts me. This isn't about jealousy. This isn't about wanting to steal the spotlight from my siblings. It's about wanting to be seen, to be valued, to be celebrated even a fraction, as much as they have been all their lives. Is that really too much to ask? Am I really so unreasonable for wanting my family to show up for me the way they've always shown up for them? And yet, the moment I voiced my feelings, I became the villain of the story, accused of manipulation for daring to call out the reality of the situation. Now, I'm left wondering if I should just give up trying altogether. If my family truly believes that I don't deserve the same level of support and celebration, then maybe I need to accept that I'm not a priority to them. Maybe I should stop expecting them to care as much about my milestones as they do about my siblings. But that doesn't make it hurt any less. Rita for calling them out. Update. Hey everyone, I wanted to come back and give an update after my original post. First of all, thank you to everyone who took the time to read and comment. I wasn't expecting so much support, and it really helped me feel less crazy about the whole situation. After my last conversation with my family, I decided to stop trying so hard for their approval. It was clear that no matter what I did, I was never going to be as special as my siblings in their eyes. But that didn't mean I had to keep accepting the neglect and favoritism. A few days after the argument, my mom tried to have a calm discussion with me about what happened. But really, it was just her trying to guilt-trip me into apologizing. She kept saying that no one meant to make me feel left out and that I was being unfair by accusing them of favoritism. I told her that intent doesn't erase impact, and just because they didn't mean to exclude me doesn't change the fact that they did over and over again. I brought up specific examples, but she kept brushing them off, saying things like, "Oh, but that was different," or "we just got caught up in the excitement of the twins." At that point, I realized that nothing I said was going to make them see my side. They weren't willing to take any accountability, so I decided I was done. Instead of begging for their attention, I started focusing on the people who actually do care about me. My best friend's parents have always been supportive, and when they heard about the graduation situation, they immediately offered to host a celebration for me at their house. My friend's mom even teared up a little when I told her how much it meant to me, which honestly was more emotion than my actual parents had shown. Graduation day came, and big surprise, none of my extended family showed up. My parents were there, but they didn't make a big deal out of it. No special dinner, no excitement, just a good job and back to business as usual. But you know what? I didn't care. Because after the ceremony, I went to my best friend's house, where I had an actual celebration with people who were genuinely happy for me. I had cake, I had fun, and for once, I felt like I mattered. Since then, I've been distancing myself from my family emotionally. I'm still living at home for now, but I've started making plans for my future without them being a major part of it. I'm heading to college soon, and I don't see myself coming back home much. If they never made the effort to include me before, I don't see why I should keep trying to force a connection now. The funny thing is, my parents have started acting confused about why I've been pulling away. My mom even said she feels like I'm being distant on purpose. When she confronted me about it, I just said, "You're right, I am," and I left it at that. I think for the first time, she realized that maybe I was serious about how much their treatment affected me. I'm not going to waste my time trying to convince them to care. If they want to be in my life, they'll have to show me through their actions, not just empty words. At the end of the day, I've accepted that I'll never be a priority to them the way my siblings are. And while that hurts, I also know that I don't have to keep chasing after love that's never been freely given. I have people in my life who care about me, who see me, and who celebrate me, and that's enough. Thanks again to everyone who validated my feelings. I'm finally moving on, and honestly, it feels freeing.